All right. Welcome, everybody, to Scottish Watches Live. Live is back for the new year, so happy Friday and happy New Year. Although that feels like a bit of a wish more than a statement of fact.
Was that not half a month ago?
Yeah, like how far into the month do you stop wishing people Happy New Year?
I'm gonna keep. You see them.
I'm going to keep wishing it until it happens.
This is lockdown. You could not see someone for 6 months. Like, you'd be like, oh, Happy New Year in July.
And then change it to a question. Happy New Year?
Yeah, is it? Right now it's a question and a wish. Yeah. But yeah, it's our first Scottish Watches Live of the new year, I think. So I'm Arthur, Tick Tick Broom. And today we're going to be reflecting on our favorite memories from Scottish watches and the watch community in general over the past couple of years, kind of aligned with Scottish Watches celebrating its 2nd anniversary. And so we might be sharing memories from the show, from the website, watch worlds in general. And also a couple of people are going to be making some recommendations for Rikki, who's looking for maybe a new watch to celebrate the anniversary. So, or two. All right. We can play with the budget. I guess we'll get started with some introductions. Top left on my screen is Gigi.
Hi, Gigi, from Milan in Italy at Time to Talk Watches on Instagram. And today I'm wearing my Scottish Watches swatch, wonderful little thing, and the other team watch, which is the grey Casio, which I love
how small they look on your wrist.
Even the Casio looks small on my wrist, doesn't it?
Looks good.
I've got a wrist like Mr. Clean, so.
I don't mean small as in like too small, just normal size.
Stop digging, Lucy. Stop
talking about size, okay?
Digging a hole. Yeah.
This is what happens when you do a show at 6 p.m.
after you're making it worse
again.
Jesus, today I just can't help it, can I? I guess I'll go next with the wristwatch check on my screen. I also have my Scottish Watches swatch on and my grey Casio.
What a surprise!
And Sam, you're up next.
I failed on this. I'm really sorry. Didn't get the memory quick enough. And yeah, Scottish Watches is on its way. But I have kind of got a little bit along the theme. I've got my Red Bar Global Meetup G-Shock on.
Nice.
The Scottish Watches and Red Bar just the same thing now? I think it kind of feels that way. Dave, what do you think?
Emerging.
Blended.
I've told you about feeling me before. Yeah, very similar.
Yes.
I think certainly.
Aligned.
Okay. We're becoming aligned. We're becoming one.
Not maligned. Aligned.
It's called Blue Pub in Scotland.
Blue Pub?
Red Bar, Blue Pub.
Took me a minute. Yeah.
Blue Pub. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it was lame.
Wow.
All right, Rikki, you're up next.
Yeah. To follow in tradition, I have got this little guy.
Yeah.
I think we should probably take them all off later on and show the different designs that we've chosen.
Yeah, let's do it.
They're probably all the same. Got that, and then obviously the black guy.
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
The stealth, the murdered out one. There we go. Oh, and a coin with the cone Duke of Wellington.
Ah, nice.
Oh, that's nice.
A coin.
Oh, cool.
Can you buy stuff with that coin? Can you buy anything with it?
No. Well, I don't think. Well, I've not tried putting it in a vending machine yet, but that's a good idea. Give that a shot.
Keep it for the trolley at the supermarket.
What size of trolleys do you use?
I was going to say, trolleys in Scotland are free. We're not like you guys down south who have to put money in trolleys to stop you stealing them.
This
What did you do as a child? Did you not like push your mates around in trolleys and like push them into the lake or anything?
It's sort of about the lake. That's a bit far, but
that's why you steal cars when you're young.
Is this
yeah, you guys stole cars.
Ah,
Is
that's
that a
your
physical
Bitcoin?
Yes.
Pretty valuable these days.
Maybe
That's what they
something.
look like.
Maybe something to do with that. Why I'm buying watches.
Yep.
Ah,
Ooh.
cool.
Well, then we should wait
Dave.
a bit, right? They just went down.
I may get rid of them before they get
Yeah,
down.
after they went down after Rikki flooded the market with the bitcoins. That's why it went down.
Abandoned ship.
Well, it depends on what watch we suggest for him, I think.
Can't wait to see.
Indeed.
All right.
Yeah, you're asking me. So yeah, I just
Yeah, Dave,
basically-
go for it.
I saw what I was meant to wear and completely ignored Ollie anyway, as usual. So I'm wearing a Swatch Keith Haring limited edition.
Nice.
It's really cool.
That's cool. All right,
Similar
Lucy.
theme. It's a similar theme. We'll let him off. I gave in to peer pressure from these guys, so I am wearing my grey Casio Oak. And
Excellent.
obviously, because I got the memo, wearing my Scottish.
Is that the one with your name on it?
It is, yes, just in case.
I like that. That was good.
There wasn't enough space for too much, so I was like, I know, I'll do the old naming like the PE kit like you used to have at school. Like, I'll put that on my watch.
Nice.
That'll be good for the Scott. Actually, yeah, some point. Is it like Red Bar Scottish Watches meetup when everyone chucks their watches in for a photo?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to
Keep track.
you have to check the back to see who's who.
Unless we got different designs and we can actually remember.
But how are you going to
We
remember
will
what
see.
yours looks like?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, which one? That's oh god, just keep it.
I'll always remember mine. He has a little sandwich like staring back at you through the dial.
What does it say?
Did you? Aye.
Did you? Aye.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes.
You have to. Yeah, I should never attempt anything in a Scottish accent.
No, you should not.
All right, Ralph, what do you have today?
The liquid sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Outside, yes.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
of course, my AliExpress modded Casio in black.
Oh wow!
Nice.
I've got to get one of those
Nice.
kits. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking at those as well. They look really cool.
Yeah, that's actually really, really nice quality now. They're getting better with every version apparently. So that's pretty nice.
I'm just really
Nice,
excited
cool.
to have like a little cheeky like wrist roll on my story, and then someone go, "Oh, that's a really nice OP," and you're like, "AP, sorry." I'm like, "No,
No.
That's cool.
closer."
Do you have one in normal original condition too, Ralph? Or are you just the modded one?
No, just I mean, of course I can. It's completely reversible, right? You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
plop it out again. It's very easy to change now with the new versions here. You can actually plop
You
it
say
out in no
plop
time.
it out again.
Yeah, you did.
You just push it and it pops out. Plop.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a bit of
Right.
liquid threads today already. So liquid
Yeah, we're
sandwiches.
off
So
to a great
it's
start. Yeah.
10 p.m. here. So sorry.
Right. All right, Gigi, do you want to start us off
choices.
on the topic? Like thinking
Oh.
back to the past couple of years,
Yeah.
what's your favorite watch memory or Scottish watches memory?
Well, my fondest memory, I would think, is when I went to Glasgow to meet Rikki and Dave. Dave I'd already met because I'd met him in London the year
London.
before. Yep,
Yeah.
the year before, at another Red Bar meeting. But since I was often in London, not now, of course, because nobody's traveling. But I get to London every. I used to go to London every occasion I could, and I did like an 4.5 hour train trip up and a 4.5 hour train trip back to Glasgow in one day. So I got up at the crack of dawn and went up to Glasgow to meet Rikki, and it was really fun because we did the Scottish Watches Watch Tour, which is something you should actually market, Rikki, because it was good
Done
fun.
that about 3 times now.
That was so. I mean, we went to James Porter, the Argyle Arcade, down Buchanan Street, and it was just a few hours of and people, they don't pester you in these places. They're really kind. I mean, you can go in, look at watches. I went to James Porter and I took pictures of all those wonderful Anordains. The picture I sent you later, this Anordain green dial, and there was a purple dial. I mean, and you get to see them in pictures, and you never really appreciate how beautiful they are when you see them in the metal, because those dials are just you can't get a good picture of them. You have to actually look at them close up.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that is just awesome. I'm gonna have to get one of these sooner or later because they're great.
Yeah.
They're a little small for my wrist maybe, but they just make up for that in awesome beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this
Very cool.
is this the color you get, Gigi?
I would
Is this
get.
the
There's actually
favorite?
a light blue fume one, which is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's that
Yeah.
is just wonderful, and they do take their time making them too, Dave. I mean, if you order them, they're not like ready to the go. There's like a few weeks at least. They have to not make it especially for you, but they do. They don't have like a big stock of the stuff.
Yeah,
Sort of
I
made
think-
to
I think
order.
it's-
Yeah, well, sort of.
I think it's a combination of the demand's pretty high for them globally. They're getting a lot of demand, and they don't just stamp them out. Their kind of QC standards are actually very high, and like whereas maybe some other brands might think, oh yeah, that's okay, it's got a tiny flaw but it's acceptable. They're pretty particular about what ends up going into a watch, and I think it's the dials that actually take the time, because the fail rate, so to speak, on them is pretty high, I think, compared to a more regular screen printed dial or whatever. So they want to get them right, and
Well,
it's nice.
you
It's nice
brought
that
them
still get
along to
attention
one of the
detail.
red bars. Remember, you brought the
Yeah,
guys
that's
who
right.
make the dials, and
Wow.
doing a live demonstration with a furnace and a kiln. Even with everything right, the first couple of dials that came out were fucked. They had to be binned, and then they started again, and it's so easy to break. It's like when you hear about enameling and different processes, not every time somebody does it work. The yield rates are quite low, and to see the guy making it and it coming out perfect in front of everybody, that was brilliant. Loved it. That's what I miss about Red Bar as well. It's all these extra wee things.
Do you remember the big glass tub they had as well? They had like a big it was almost like an oversized jam jar that had all the failed dials in it. Because obviously when one fails, they put it in that, and they had this big kind of glass jar that they would put all of the dials in that kind of failed. Because
can they make something with them? Like, it seems like a
artwork
or something, isn't it?
The thing is, they could fail for so many reasons. Sometimes it's just the materials, the enamel doesn't adhere properly, or it bubbles, or it's uneven, and sometimes it's just the heat reacts with the metal and the actual metal disc itself warps slightly, or there's so many ways it can fail that are broadly out of control of the person making them, which does show that they're, aside from being handmade and it being a skill in itself, there's so many other variables that can result in it just going off. I suppose it's a craft, it's like baking or being a chef or cooking, it's just the tiniest little thing, too much heat, too little heat, too much of this, too little of that, and it just spoils. And it's kind of like that. So it was really good fun watching them. And I'm speaking to, I caught up with Lewis just before we got locked down, actually. Just when was it? Was it just before or just after Christmas? And I think they're kind of expanding as well, so they've got some more staff coming on board as well. So I believe they might even be reversing the trend, that there might be a couple of watchmaker orientated people coming from the cuckoo land of cuckoo clocks to Scotland to actually work for them. So it's kind of really cool to see that brain drain not all going towards Switzerland but coming back the way. So it's really nice to see that they've kind of set their roots, because a lot of brands would just push a lot of that work towards Switzerland once they get to a certain size, because it's easy, and I think Lewis certainly seems really keen to keep as much of what he can do in Glasgow as possible.
Are they part of the British watchmaking? The new British Watchmaking Association.
I believe they are. I believe they are a trade member. Yeah.
And it's incredible you can get these watches at the price you can get them at, because with all that, all those discarded dials, you would think the price would be so much higher. And the only comparable watch is the Glasuta. They make that, vitreous enamel dial, and it's multiples of the price. So I think I don't think it looks as good as the Anno Dane either. So
Scottish labour's
fantastic.
I heard that they're selling the failed dials as meteor dials to others.
Yeah.
Is the challenge with the enamel, like the ones that are rejected, is there like what does it look like? Is it just trouble getting consistency? Oh, really?
Cracked glass.
It could be a multitude of things, but I think the most common one is that the enamel itself just fails and it cracks, or you just get like a almost, it could be an air bubble that just is in the mix and it just pops in the heat, or just with the different gas expansion temperatures. But I remember him showing me one, and he was like, "This has failed," and I was kind of sitting looking at it and looking at it and looking at it until you actually sat with a loop scanning around it. You eventually could find there was just a tiny tiniest of hairline cracks that was in the enamel, I would reckon that probably 8 out of 10 people at least put in front of them would never have found it in the life of the watch.
Wow.
And you know, and of the other 2 that would find it, generally it was because they were directed towards it. So, you know, but they are pretty fastidious about it. I mean, I know plenty of watchmakers that say the one thing watch companies should never do is put a loop in the box because it just encourages folk to find faults. Yeah, there we go. There's a picture.
Nice.
Is that a kiln?
Yeah, that's one of the wee kind of small kilns.
She got it on her nails as well.
Yeah.
How many times?
It's amazing when you see the processes as well. You know, it's like I think one of the big things for me was like it's the number of processes. You know, a lot of folk, I can assume, you know, it's get the dial, lay up the material, bake it in the kiln, give it a clean or whatever. But there's so many layers of polishing it down and bringing it down and bringing it back up, and all these kind of processes in it that you just think, okay, this is pretty time consuming.
Sometimes you don't appreciate how much work and effort and like craftsmanship actually going to something so seemingly simple.
Yeah.
It's just a dial and a watch to most people.
Yeah.
I love
Just
that.
make sure there's no
detail.
dodgy things in this folder.
Can you go forward again? Can you go backwards?
Sure.
No. The third one. No. 5, 5. No, nothing.
So this is the guy actually mixing all the stuff together.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And how he applies it to he puts it in the kiln. And then when he took, I think it was 2 of them came out buggered, and the third one was perfect.
Yeah, you
It
can
must
see
be
the
fun
material.
working around with the colours and being like, oh, if I put that colour with that, I wonder what it comes out like.
Yeah.
And if I put it at that temperature, if
That's
I
cool.
colours it different.
Must be really fun. Yeah.
And you know, and like I think some of the dials that some of the dials they did, which was one of the, I think it was the run out dials, wasn't it, for the original Model 1, was the material that was the waste product from the enamel mixes, where they'd kind of just all the little bits of enamel that were left, they'd poured into like a little jar, and it was almost like a kind of waste or slag material from the production of the dials. And eventually, like, they thought, oh, let's have a go at this, and they used it to make a dial, and they were like, this is amazing, you know. And again, it was just something that they could never, they said we could never do it again, because it was just, we didn't know what was in it. It was just all the waste product of enamel. And they'd made, I don't know what it was, Rikki, can you remember, 10 dials or something they got out of it, wasn't it? Something like that.
No
It wasn't
idea.
a lot though. And they used it, and it was a kind of grey, starry, sparkly, I don't even know how you describe the colour, but it was really cool.
Done.
It'd be really cool to get one of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't
Do you
seen
have
one
one,
in
Dave?
person yet. Love
Have
to.
a look at their Instagram, you'll see it. Have a look at their Instagram, you'll see pictures of them.
Well, there are brands that I don't know too much about, and I probably only came across them 2 months ago, something like that. But they've literally flooded Instagram now. It's really good to see. Finding out more and more about them, they seem like a really interesting company, and the fact that they pay so much attention to detail, and they're, you know, really intricate and you know, decisive about what they want out of it is really good.
Yeah, very good.
Indeed.
So should we, Gigi, do you want to share your pick for Rikki for a watch now, or should we save those for the end?
Go for it.
Go for
All
it.
right.
Go.
All right.
Mm.
You want to talk us through this one, Gigi?
I'm not sure. I have to study. Okay, I'll try and talk you through it. I don't know much about it because I just picked it up on watch time. So there you go. But it is, I mean, classic. You can see classic Grand Seiko, but has that two-tone. Everybody's, you know, it's kind of, I think it's coming back into fashion. Yeah. And this is done in a the way they've done it here is it's done with the con gusto, we say in Italian, no, with taste. It's only two-toned on the, you know, the bezel and the and on the dial, but from what I can see, the bracelet is just, you know, stainless steel. So that and just the crown's gold. So it's that kind of, you know, two-tone light. It's not really, you know, in your face two-tone. And I think it just looks great. GMT, of course, which is useless, but it looks good. You've got that extra hand there, you know, and the kind of Batmanish bezel. I mean, even though Rikki already has a Batman,
I'll know how to work it.
And I just think it looks great. I mean, and blue and gold do really mingle well as colors. They do look stunning. And it's priced, you know, within. Actually, I thought it was more expensive, but it's like $11,000, which is well below. It's below 10,000 pounds.
Yeah, I think these are about 8.5 UK, aren't they? Something like that rings a bell. 8.5, 8, something like that.
What's the story with the bezel? Is that graduated or is it split? It looks like it's a fade.
It's
it's a sapphire. It's a sapphire bezel.
I think it's just the light playing with this portion here versus that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's
very pretty.
No, actually, I'm looking at it close. It's probably the light, but it does look kind of fading from. It sort of has a stronger fade when it gets to 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Yeah.
It does. It's
I think
not
it's that's a light playing with it.
It's probably the spring water of Mount Iwate. Once it's melting from the glacier.
Exactly.
That's exactly the gradient.
That's
some sort of
Seiko,
nature
right?
stuff,
away with
right?
words.
There has to be nature in there somewhere, I suppose. Otherwise, it's not a Grand Seiko.
I'll tell you one of the things that is quite cool about these GSs when obviously it's got the GMT function, but if you don't want to use it as a GMT, because it's got the fixed 24-hour bezel, you can use the GMT as a AM/PM indicator rather than a GMT hand.
Yeah.
So if you set the GMT hand to the local time, it works as a 24-hour indicator as well.
But you've got to be really stoned. You don't know if it's night or day. Right?
So can the sun.
You're from Scotland where we don't get the sun.
What's the sun you're talking about?
Okay.
We live in we're like
perennial darkness.
Just perennial darkness here. Yeah.
Do you know these
Load it back up again?
Horror films and
just a sec. I'll get it back. Here we go.
I'll tell you what I like and I don't like.
Okay.
I like it. It's a great choice. And I never thought about it. I don't hate the dial. Usually with Grand Seikos, they put so many little contraptions on the dial itself, you can't tell what the time is. But even that power indicator is not horrible.
Yep.
Dial color date disc might have been nicer because that's a little bit jarring, but that's the only thing. And the off-center crown at the 4 o'clock's a little bit off, but the color scheme looks fantastic and it's not cluttered. And my first Grand Seiko would have to be Spring Drive because that's what they're known for. So that's that's a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
excellent.
Cool.
Good job.
Nice job, JJ.
I think the other one, GG, is they're not because they've got this one which is the 44, and they've got one which is very similar, haven't they? And I think it's 40 or 41.
Yes,
as well.
I know the one.
This is 44, so it's kind of biggish. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 44s are the Spring Drives, aren't they? In the same case and style. In the smaller case, might be a high beat, possibly.
Oh, high beat.
It's high beat.
I think there's a Spring Drive GMT around 40 and a half now, maybe. But it
might be that.
With a ceramic bezel. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one that drops the power indicator on the dial as well? I think it's a bit simpler, isn't it? Which would probably appeal to you.
I don't recall off the top. Yeah.
Yeah. Good looking watch.
Cool. So. Excellent.
Worth considering. Yeah.
Yeah. Good choice.
Cool.
Thank you.
Moving things along. I guess on my screen I'm next, and I guess my story is kind of brief, but I think my favorite memory from the past couple of years was, rather than seeing a particular watch, was actually the Red Bar Global Meetup in, when was it? September 2019 now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just good because I got to meet Dave and Sam on my screen in person, but I'm part of the local Red Bar DC chapter, and that's been really fun. But the sense of community and how packed with fun events that weekend was just incredible. And the number of watches and different perspectives on the hobby, and people into every possible niche of brand or type of collecting, just being exposed to all that, it was just a fantastic time. So that was probably like not only favorite watch collecting memory in the past couple of years, but probably to date. So I was really bummed when COVID put the dampers on the London one, of course, but
would you have come over
to Watch this space.
Would you have gone to London for the meet? Would you have traveled?
We'd actually made most of the arrangements, had the tickets at least, and were ready to go. But
Yeah,
absolute carnage when we're allowed out again.
Yeah,
well, there's definitely.
It was the first time too, so
I was scrolling through my messages that I sent to Scottish Watchers on Instagram to sort of jog my memory, and there's a photo of myself, Dave, Arthur and Stephanie, and selfie, and we sent it to Scottish Watchers being like, wish you were here.
That's awesome. And I think it was the Saturday night we managed to get a picture, I think, with everyone there who'd been a guest on the podcast.
That was
point.
I think that
so
might
Sophie
be it.
was there. Sam,
yeah.
Dave, Stephanie. I don't recall right off the top of my head, but I was going to share some pictures from the weekend, but most of them are not suitable for on live.
Are these the ones around the Oris there?
Yes, that's right. Dave's looking a little startled there.
So safe for work.
Not as startled as the bear was.
So, and then I guess quickly, my pick or suggestion, Rikki, for a watch for you. I also went with something blue, and I know you were waiting on the Defy Inventor for a while, and that didn't really pan out. I read from that and your Apollo 8 that, maybe you're into some of the more sort of modern avant-garde design stuff. I thought the solid blue dial might be nice since you've got the Apollo 8 with the skeletonization. And I think, Stephanie has the Defy Midnight, which is in steel. This is in titanium, but these bracelets are really pretty impressive in person. So that's my pick for you. Something to think about. Any thoughts?
Yes, I did look at this one and also the Defy 21, because you can get unworn Defy 21s in ceramic for ridiculously cheap prices on Chrono 24. So yeah,
Gordon's got one of them, hasn't he?
He has. The reason, it's incredible. I don't know if you guys have seen one in real life, but
I have. It's incredible.
The way they work,
yeah,
it's like magic, because you would think it's got an electric motor in it, the way that it spins, the second escapement. And I'm not going to pull up Chrono 24 just now, but I could probably pick one of the 21s up for about $9 grand, 9 grand UK unworn.
Yeah.
Now this one here, love the blue, love the bracelet, but if I can share the screen, I don't know if I can.
Sure. Yeah, let me get back out.
If I share the screen, I would love this.
Ooh.
Is that the Defender one?
Nope. This is the Swiss Beats one. Limited to I think 50 or 60 pieces. Cannot find it anywhere at all. But that would be the version I would go for. And I've actually asked around if anyone's watching this or is out there that knows one of these for sale. Give me a shout, because I would love to have one of them.
That looks.
I think I've seen the Chrono around. Well, there may be a Chrono version available. But,
yeah,
we'll talk later. And also the last Basel event that ever last year that I went to, I managed to sneak an invite, I don't know how, to the Zenith after party, and that's where they were promoting the Inventor, which was the Defy Lab, the illustrious watch that doesn't exist really, and they had Swiss Beats across and quite a few other artists and DJs. And because that was the final party of the final Basel, it'd be quite a good sort of tie-in as well. So.
Yeah, nice.
Good choice.
Nice, good pick. Yeah. I was thinking about the 21 as well. I wasn't sure if you wanted another Chrono or not, but yeah, cool.
Nice,
excellent.
All right, Sam, how about you?
So it probably is not a sort of a specific memory as such. I'm just going to do like a little fly through. Went on my messages just to see if there's anything that jogged my memory. And my first message was on the 10th of February 2019 when I listened to the podcast for the first time. I just messaged, "Hi guys, listened to your podcast, really enjoyed it. Keep up the good work." So that was quite cool. And then I got invited on. Actually, I didn't make note of it. I think it was May time. I think.
Yeah, it was quite early on.
Yeah. So. When obviously you're probably desperate for guests then and would have anyone on.
No, it was a dare.
No, it's because I wrote you a really nice
HR
email.
on the phone being like, we haven't got enough women.
Yeah. Clickbait. Yeah, I think I can't remember how I addressed it now, but I wrote a really nice email to you being like, have you got an application for guest or something like that?
That's right. Yeah.
So yes, that was nice. Got to talk about myself for an hour, and so that was good. And then it's just loved it ever since. Listened. I think a highlight favourite joke is the Oris limited edition bomb disposal watch that didn't have any hands. That's just always makes me chuckle.
I'm going to have to dig that out and replay it because a lot of people probably don't know that joke. But I actually got comments in the last couple of weeks that the best joke was when I overdubbed Ryan Schmidt talking about authoring a book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if I heard that one.
I don't know if you guys have listened to the second birthday episode. Obviously, you haven't. We'll have words later.
I listened to the... I'm halfway through the Bark and Jack with Dave. And the Wakoi. I was walking to work laughing out loud.
Wakoi.
Boy.
Hey, Wakoi! You said Wakoi. No, I didn't.
Boy.
Adrian. Wakoi.
Literally recorded, Dave.
And then so just and I've got loads of like screenshots, just like lots of screenshots and stories to saying literally laughing aloud. Downloaded, like had a long flight to New Zealand, downloaded the podcast and was like on the flight just trying not to laugh aloud. And then just more recently, like love stuff, the Waco podcast, Jean-Claude Beaver, and proper fangirled over Max Boozer as well. So
nice.
lots of fun things.
And any recommendation for Rikki to consider watch-wise?
So maybe not specific watches, but I think kind of going on guests and things. I think like I think you went for like I don't know if there's anything coming up, but like a Bamford / Black Badger limited edition.
Yeah, I pulled up one of my favorites in that vein that I know you guys got to get hands-on with.
We've licked that watch, haven't we, Rikki?
I've done unspeakable acts with that watch.
Yeah, that watch is a COVID vector for the entire Northern Europe.
Oh, that reminds me, we need to do the Bamford giveaway. I forgot we had that. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it not sell on eBay? No. Better give it away.
That particular one, it was nice to play with it, and obviously it's got a cool material, but it didn't appeal to me. But there's a hell of a lot of Bamford Zeniths, and there's a Black Badger, Linda Verdelin that's really nice. So that's not the watch, but the other ones are brilliant. Because what Bamford did was, on their Instagram at Christmas time, they rotated through all these different watches that they'd done. And I just didn't remember they'd done so many great things. They were really, really cool stuff. And that one's brilliant. That's coming tomorrow, I think.
Yep.
The Black Badger.
Let's see if do they have the loom shot on here? Let's see.
Yeah, if you click the next button.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, love it.
That's pretty sweet.
The only thing with that watch that I don't like is it looks like an owl with big eyelashes.
I've ruined it now.
Sorry.
I think it actually looks like a porthole in a ship, but an owl with eyelashes.
Yeah.
Cannot
There's another couple of Linda Verdelins that I'm looking at. If you go to collections, and it's the 3-timer, and there's a couple of blue dial ones if you scroll down.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Keep going.
This guy.
You've got that guy, but there is another one. I don't know where it's gone. It's a bit cheaper than that as well. That I was having a look at. There was also some second-hand ones like the big Hard Date 3 Black or something. They've got really stupid names. So, nice brand, very underrated and incredibly cheap on the second-hand market.
Yeah. Why does that look like a Ploprof and a Tudor PO1 have had an illicit date?
Because you left them in the same watch box overnight.
I don't think that is not a child you want.
Good point. They're not my thing, these, but I actually do really like them. I think the nice thing about these is that they're doing something different to everybody else, and that's one of the nice things. It's not like a lot of small brands or smaller brands, let's be honest, like you can see they've taken something from one of the more major brands or something from history. This is just something that's just crazy nuts out there different.
Right, like they've got a very clear vision and they're doing
Yeah.
it. It's their own
Yeah,
thing,
and
right?
Yeah.
They've got, you know, you can see the design language through all of them, the different models. There's an absolutely definitive design language going on there.
Let
Yeah.
me jump in and try and share
Really
this.
cool.
Sure. All right.
I'm getting the hang of this, nearly. This one here,
Oh,
Ah,
cool.
yeah, that's quite cool.
right? And it's brand new for just over $4 grand, $3.5 plus VAT, which I think is brilliant. DLC as well, so hopefully it's hard wearing.
That's a banger, that actually. That's really cool. I like that blue as well.
It's nice.
It's like a
There's only two
Luminox.
pictures
It's
of
like a
it.
Double date
Luminox on
window.
steroids.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a good call. That's a good call. It's like a real lumen. It's like a real
The real thing, yeah.
Yeah. So there
Sam,
we go.
you're right. The date window is pretty cool. Or it's 2,
Yeah.
I was
right?
going to say,
It's like
do you know what? I was going to say, I didn't even notice the date there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
there.
clever the
Really
way
cool.
it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of discreet,
agreed.
but yeah, legible, isn't it?
So for
Yeah, I like that.
4.2, that's definitely on the hit list as well.
So it's the
Surely-
limited edition
do they gain points or lose points for the name of the watch?
He won points.
How's luck
So
going for you?
Not sure.
I'm literally watching the cogs go round in his head going, "Did I say that? Is that
Are you
going
talking about the
on?"
brand name or the model name?
The model name, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling as well.
Is it as bad as Rolex
I'm just gonna be
GMT
quiet
Master
and
2
giggle.
Batman? That's just silly, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. mhm.
All right, Rikki, I guess that's your watch recommendation for yourself, but how about stories or memories? I know you
I'll
shared
wait
a lot
until
on
the
the
end so I can
podcast,
think
but-
of something. Since I
All
don't know
right,
much.
fair enough.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay. Dave, do you want to do your watch recommendation?
Can
you
do.
sent me.
Okay. So
Yeah, cool.
stick this up
Let's,
and I'll tell you why.
Right.
This is a couple of different options. Let's see which one you pull up. Well, there's either this or there is if you look up the same overseas, but I think it's the day, I don't know what they call it, is it the AM PM or the day night one?
The dual time, I think they
Dual
call
time,
it.
that's the one they call it. That's the
Yeah,
one.
let's just get that loaded up. Internet's being a little slow here. In the blue as well.
Whatever color. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, pull the blue one up. There we go. Now you see this for a few reasons. I personally think, you know, the VC overseas is very much one of the kind of big three. It's one of those that it's one of the kind of the three Royal integrated bracelet classic design watches. But I think this one's the best of all of them, but it's by far and away the most underrated and the one that's kind of overlooked and ignored by everybody. But from a quality perspective, when you handle one of them, they are beautifully made. The fact that they all come with the bracelet, a rubber strap-on deploying, and an alligator strap-on deploying with all of them. They come with all of them in the box. It's a quick release, so you can just flick the little thing with your fingernail and you can swap the bracelets out. It quite literally takes 10 seconds to change the bracelets over. The way they're supplied as well is they all come with everything fully ready, so you don't have to mess about. You can see the wee lever there. Yep, flick the wee lever and off it pops. And
Similar to
again,
the
you don't
way
need to mess about.
Zenith, sorry, is that similar to the way the Zeniths are going with the?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, lots of them are
bracelets?
going that way, but this one's been like this since the start, and you know, it's super easy to do. Also, when on the rubber strap's really nice looking. It's a quality looking rubber. It's a quality feel strap as well. It's a real nice strap, and the deployments are all kind of pre-installed on them, so it's so easy just to, you know, it's not a case of if you decide to change the strap, you have to faff about forever. This is what you kind of get in the pack, so everything's so easy to flick around. It's a great looking watch. It can go straight from quite sporty on the rubber strap through to, you know, formal and dressy on the alligator through to kind of sporty stroke businessy in the steel bracelet. I've really grown with integrated bracelets. It's 41 mil, but because it's lugless, it doesn't wear super big either. But it's got such a different presence depending on what bracelet you put it on. They all come in these blue dials, and the blue dials are beautiful, but they also do white and black, which are pretty classic as well. I just think they tick every box, and the time only one I think is about 19 UK. So okay, it's by far and away not a cheap watch, but it's a lot of watch for 19 grand. And this one I think are typically 22, 23 for the dual time. I just think it's a watch for me that I one day will definitely add one of these because it's such a cool piece. And I can't decide whether I like the time only or this. I like both of them, but one's much fussier than the other. The time only, if you go back to the time only, it's so clean.
Yeah, super simple. Just date window.
Super clean. Just a date window, yeah.
And the blue dials in person have a lot of depth and sort of change color in the light.
Yeah.
They're pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well is, like, you know, I know, Rikki, you don't particularly, like a lot of us don't particularly buy watches with the, you know, the first priority is not, oh, how much is it going to accrue in value or how much is it going to maintain, you know, but I think this VC for a while has very much been one of these brands that, you know, has kind of floated by the wayside. And I think this brand, and particularly the overseas, is about to hit the big time. Suddenly, you know, they're much harder to come by now in terms of you can't, you know, the blues aren't freely available for big discounts by any stretch. And there's more and more people suddenly showing an interest in these, and these are a watch that I think is suddenly going to hit the big time over the next 6 months, a year. I think that's just that there is such a classic looking, such a great looking watch. So there you go. There's my offering for you.
Well, funnily enough, again, if you want to let me share the screen.
Yeah. Go for it.
I think that one's beautifully clean. Like, it's so incredibly well done and understated.
Yeah.
This is the one I
You
was
see
looking at.
blue and gold. That's got classy baller written all over it.
Pink gold.
Yeah,
we were trying to respect a budget, but you know, with that Bitcoin lying around, maybe that works.
I think we've blown through the budget.
I think these are so versatile, and they are like forever watches. You can wear, you know, especially with the interchangeable straps, you can literally wear them to every event.
Yep.
I think these are about 30 something in the UK on the gold, I think, aren't they? Or are they a bit more than that? Are they in the 40s?
Yeah.
So it's probably high 30s UK then, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
38.
I like the look of it. Wouldn't spend that money on one. Not at the moment.
No, I mean,
not to sell to a dinky.
Yeah, I think the gold's amazing, but you know, I think the stainless steel, as much as the gold, is another watch as well to me. You know, and it's not cheap, but it's kind of just on the right side of not lunatic money.
Yeah. Good choice again. Yeah. Wow.
And the time version is the best of the two, I think. Just so clean, just the date and time is much better.
The one, I think the absolutely ideal one for them is the one that they never made, which was the one they did the dual time in the titanium that they sold. They'd made one and it sold at auction, I think maybe a year ago or so. That ticked every box as far as I'm concerned.
I might know the guy who has it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The titanium
in the house.
The titanium in the bead blasted case. I think that absolutely would have hit every nail in the head. It's like a bead blasted titanium case.
Oh, okay.
You know, the rotor is like has engraved in it the profile of the Himalayas with Everest in the middle. It's insane. It's amazing.
Yeah, and they should have made it because they would have sold bucket loads of them.
Yeah.
Is there a reason they only made one? Was it an accident or a trial, or?
I don't think it was an only watch. I think they did it as a piece, and it kind of it got a bit of attention that somebody knew they'd done it, and it kind of got out that they had this piece, and then I think it got donated. I think it was a charity auction. I think it went for in the end.
Yeah, a National Geographic charity auction, I believe. But it was worn up Mount Everest by Corey Richards, who's a mountaineer.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And it is so good. Yeah. The only watch aesthetically, it's a bit like, you know, the Shadow, you know, the Zenith Shadow they've done in that titanium case with the bead. With the bead blasted case. It's got a very similar kind of colour and feel to the case as that, but it's in that 41 mil. So an absolutely peachy watch.
Yeah. All right. To move things along, Lucy, how about you? What's your favorite memory from the past couple of years?
Let me think of one. So I think I only joined like the Instagram world in like June last year, so I'm still pretty fresh, but I'm old, but I'm fresh. Fresh to the world community. Cheers, Dave. But obviously, I think the first podcast I listened to was 10 and 2, and then through 10 and 2, I found Scottish Watches, and I just loved the humour. Like, that to me was just like the perfect mix of taking the piss, not taking yourself too seriously, and actual watch content, which to me is like, I could listen to that all day. I tried to listen to the first episode, failed miserably.
How long did it take you to work out who was who? Like, it just, for ages, it just sounded like it was all...
And
I don't know, I struggled.
Ricky's the guy. And Rikki is pretty good at keeping things on pace. He continues to be fairly good. Apart from the drunk episode, that was the best one that you kept on pace with.
Oh, okay.
Between Dave and Ryan, it could have gone in a very different direction, but you actually managed to power through and get content for a podcast. So I'm really impressed with that one. But like a couple of the moments that sort of stick in my head are you were talking about the Stephen Hawking watch on the episode with Ryan. I was literally driving home and I was like, I'm going to crash in a minute because I'm laughing so hard at it.
They're sending us that watch next week.
I think actually.
I'm going to take a metal detector across the back of it.
Does it have his wheelchair in it or not?
You press, there's a little button in the back, you press it and it goes, the time sponsored by Accurus.
Oh no.
May not get the watch.
I can't be driving when I listen to that. I can't.
Just remember when you put it on the desk, Rikki, put the brake on the wheel.
What was even funnier was after that episode, Rick actually followed that one up with a really quick joke about Zero West that I liked. But after that episode, I rewatched Sausage Party, the film.
Yeah.
Where you've got a bit of chewing gum that is like Stephen Hawking with the voice. It just tied in perfectly. Oh man.
Oh no.
Everyone should watch that film and no one should watch that film.
At the very end, it finishes in a crescendo of absurdity that is amazing.
Literally, you spent the whole film thinking, what the am I watching?
Really snubbed at the Oscars.
But then you have to watch it. It's like one of those. Oh, and then you made like you made several digs about Ryan's divorce as well, and everyone just laughed through it. I was like, this is brilliant. No one's offended. You know, it's good. I actually got good watch content out of it as well. Weirdly.
I don't know. After the latest episode of Ryan and the books, I've gone by the text message you sent me and Rikki. I'm not entirely sure he wasn't offended.
But I guess there for a second.
He makes the joke himself though now, so at least
he does. He does.
Yeah.
Right, Lucy, do you have any recommendations for Rikki watch wise? If not a particular watch, you know. Like philosophical way to approach this purchase, or
I think anything that's a little bit different, usually limited edition, bright color, not too busy, but a bit out there. I think would be Rikki's style, that I think anyway. Although for some reason in my mind I keep thinking of the Rolex Explorer 2 because I was like, it's your second birthday, you know. I think you could put some like really jazzy straps with it, but no. Yeah, that's the direction I would go in for you. I have not done my research on this at all, but at least I'm wearing the Scottish watches.
Turned up.
Well covered on the spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, Ralph, moving on to you. I know you sent me some pictures you wanted to share along with your story too.
Yeah. Wait a second with the pictures. So let me.
Okay.
We
Sounds
have
like
not
Ralph
much
is-
time. We are running out of time, so I combined the story and the watch.
Sorry.
Oh,
See, there you go. I knew it. So, I think there are fantastic watch recommendations for Rikki. I think it's really fantastic work everybody has done. So really lovely stuff. And I can only say that the overseas is just amazing. Once you have it in your hand, you think like, oh my God, I so want this watch. I wasn't so excited about it on the pictures, but the moment I had it in my hand, I thought, oh my God, the quality is just off the charts. However, I have a recommendation which is what all of these watches lack is the memories and the combination to Scottish watches. So when I got into contact with Scottish watches my first time, it was when I was on the web and then checking a couple of watches out. And I went to a boutique of a specific brand in the Dubai Mall, and they had just opened a big boutique there. And they had a watch that was available for pre-order, and they had samples. And it was now we can take the photos I took from there. The Tag Heuer Autavia Isograph. Now, that watch, I thought it's actually pretty cool. So I had it on my wrist, and I looked at it, and I thought, wow, this is actually quite cool for a Tag Heuer, because a Tag Heuer wasn't really on my radar at all. But I thought this is also some cool technology with a carbon composite mainspring and all of this stuff. And then I waited and I waited and I waited, and suddenly the advertising was gone, and it was gone from their website. And I thought, like, wait a second, where is that watch? And then I found out a bit more, and I contacted Rikki because I found nobody reporting about it. And I thought, like, okay, so this watch just disappeared from the earth. How is this possible? And nobody reports it. So I thought, okay, I think I'm on the biggest Tag Heuer scandal of the year, right? I found it. And I thought, we need somebody who can report it, because no watch industry reporting or organ they had anything to say about it. So I thought, we need somebody with balls of steel, nerves of steel, and we need somebody who is poor enough, has no advertisers to lose. So Scottish watches, right? Bang. And I thought, these are the guys, they can do it, right? They don't take themselves too seriously, and then they will report on it. So I contacted Rikki, and then of course they ran with it, and they did some proper journalistic double research and confirmed everything and did all the proper things. And and then the story came out, and I was very excited about it. I mean, it was really, really great reporting and great investigative reporting from Rikki and Rick. And I thought, this is really cool. And it reached a much bigger audience than my 2.5 Instagram followers that way. So I was really, really excited about that. So I think this watch will remind you of how actually you started, the roots of everything, how you did investigative reporting and broke news stories that nobody else had. How you took on the big Jean-Claude Biver, who was the CEO of Tag Heuer at the time. Right? Mm-hmm. And of course, it's actually a lovely watch. Yes, it's way under budget, but it's also not so easy to find, because the Isograph watches actually were on sale. You could buy some before they pulled them out of the boutiques and recalled them. So there are some available in the market. And if you look on Chrono24, you find 2 or 3 with Isograph on the dial. And I think that would be a rare watch. It's an under the radar watch that only you know of what it reminds you of, but it will bring back a lot of memories every time you look at it. And you think like, yeah, we did that. So I think that's a nice watch to have.
We could also buy a fake
save a lot
Daytona. That would remind us of investigative reporting as well.
that as well. It's also much cheaper.
So I see what you're doing there, Ralph. So you've just remembered that you put quite a big deposit down on a certain watch from a brand that's owned by the same holding company that kind of was promised and never delivered. And there's 1 or 2 out in the wild. So you're doing it to them again. Excellent work. Excellent.
Little
Well,
carrot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, tags don't appeal to me because they're generally not great, but this one does.
Yep.
Mm.
Ooh.
This is one
Oh,
of the
Jesus.
least. What's wrong?
It says tourbillon on it. You know what that does,
does.
to me? That's like a
Dave,
it's like a trigger word.
Is it?
I was like, maybe less complications on the
No.
dial. No, just the
That's
busiest dial physically
I was going
possible.
to say, as Rikki quickly proves that everyone wrong by saying, "Oh yeah, he likes nice simple things, not too fussy, not too complicated." Here's the
How do
ugliest, most
you even read
complicated
the
watch in the
time on
world.
this?
You
You
look
don't
at your
That's
phone.
secondary.
You don't. Okay.
You look at your
Exactly.
phone.
It's basically a
phone.
glorified, very expensive bracelet.
Ah.
Pretty
Mm.
much
Yeah.
made of expensive bicycle parts, it looks like, Dave.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Yeah.
Crystalline
looks like-
carbon.
Yeah,
Too
looks like the
complicated.
offcuts from
No crap.
looks like the offcuts from stuff that we've used.
Yeah, there's
See,
like a
nanograph,
racing clutch.
isograph, very close. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yep, exactly. That's what made me think of it.
Similar.
But this came
Oh,
out
I
a couple
like
of
the
years ago.
back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wear it back to front then.
Wear
Jesus
it,
Christ.
wear it back to front. Yeah.
I do like the honeycomb hexagonal kind of
That's
motif.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It
So
looks
this
a bit
is
like
the
a,
tag I would go for.
it's like a tag
think
that wants
that's-
to be a Richard Mille a bit. You know, it wants to be.
Yeah.
It wants to be,
That's
and I
just
have a
a
very low
different
opinion of
case
Richard Mille. Like, kind of, it's a watch for like, you know, for using Cockney rhyming slam, it's for, you know, a corporate banker watch. You know, so.
You know, the thing is, when you look at that, if you pull that picture up again, you can definitely see some of the kind of family design traits with the Zenith Defy 21.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
case, the
Mhm.
strap. You know, that kind of
Right.
open architecture work. You know, you can
Yeah.
definitely see where they've got the same people. I think the thing is with Tag though, you know, as much as they get a hard time, they do occasionally pull off something like that, something that's just a bit different. And generally, I don't know what the pricing it is, but I'm guessing compared to everyone else with contemporary technology, it's a fraction of the price.
It's about 17 to 20
Yeah.
for this. They do a non-nanograph version that's just their standard tourbillon. You can get for about 10.
Yeah,
pre-owned.
and you know,
Mm.
What,
and
the
you'll
cheapest tourbillon ever?
No, that comes from China and it's about 600
Yeah.
quid.
yeah.
Not
But-
It's
From
not
a-
Mariner, isn't it?
From a major Swiss brand, it's it's
Orage
definitely
maybe
gonna
would be like the mid one, the mid.
Yeah.
Well, when their one
Sure.
comes out,
Yeah.
if it comes out in
Constant,
time,
yeah.
you know. But no, I quite like that one, although I would never buy it.
I like the
There
pop
we
of
go.
colour in it. I
Mm.
do like that.
Well, I know, and before Rikki gives his kind of summation of his favourite part, I've thought of mine. Well, I thought of it anyway, but mine's a bit twee. But actually, for me, it's the fact that, you know, as a lot of folk know, I knew Rikki a long time before any of this nonsense started. A long time before any of this nonsense started, and it was the fact that, you know, we bumped it into each other at a red bar, and there was a kind of I know that person. Did I owe that person money? What have I done to that person?
I think
Why
I
have
know
not
his
talked to
mum.
that person for exactly. Yeah, he knows my mum. I know his dad though. So, but you know, it's just the big thing was just it was that reconnection actually after probably how long we thinking here?
17
15
years.
plus 17 years.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, a long gap in time, and for me that's been. You know, it's been a good, fun couple of years, and of daft things that have gone on that might never have happened, and you know that for me it's a bit soppy, but hey, it's for me it's about people, and oh yeah, stop greeting. But no, it's true. So that for me is definitely my highlight in terms of that, certainly from a personal level.
Yeah, no, that's great. I didn't know how long you guys have known each other. That's
Cute.
awesome.
Yeah, a long time.
What was it, Dave? If you love something, set it free, and if it comes back, it was meant to be.
That's the one.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh God, let me go.
What's the song? Put a ring on it. No, in it. That's the one.
Oh.
That's better. That's I was about to go and be sick at how soppy that was.
Was
but
it
yeah,
put a ring in it?
you brought that back.
Put a ring in it or put a plug in it. Which one is it?
Oh.
It sounds similar.
Ooh.
Can't confuse it.
Oh, Dave.
Okay.
I'm so excited for the time that we can eventually all meet up because I said at the beginning, carnage is going to be the word. Scandal and debauchery
The
everywhere.
death match will happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Come to Dubai Watch Week when it happens. End of the year.
And I will die, but I will be happy. And that so whoever put up that little meme pretty much had it on the nose.
Which one?
The one with the boy and the girl fighting.
That was my
Oh
laugh.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That is what's going to happen.
Yeah. I
Right.
did MMA.
Right.
Is it my turn to do stuff?
Yeah,
It's your
Rikki,
turn.
close us
Round
out.
things up.
Rikki.
Let's have it.
Right, well, I'll show you stuff. I'll try and be careful because now I'm going to screen share WhatsApp, which
Yeah,
is always
careful.
dangerous, right?
Yeah, that's very dangerous.
So,
Close all your YouPorn tabs.
yes, exactly. Right, so Catelyn suggested this for me, but I said no. Things I was looking at that
Bit
are
too
really
plain.
strange and weird. That,
Yeah.
right? So it's a kind of reverso style, but it's a Patek and it's in rose gold.
Dunno.
So
I like
something
the
a bit
gold and the
different.
black.
I feel like you're copying my
Yeah.
Longines, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's a brand that I don't own and nothing they make that I can afford would I be interested in. And then we've got, obviously we talked about that one before. We talked about that one. This was a watch
10
I
grand
got.
for a Patek. Wow, that's not bad, is it?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a bit older and whatnot.
Okay, well,
This is
Right.
a watch that I get sent up to do a video on, which is on our YouTube channel. And the way the dial reflects light, it's almost like back in the day when they did candy apple paint jobs, candy apple red, candy apple blue. So it was a metallic base with a die over the top and a lacquer. That's what this looks like. So it was incredible looking.
And they look
obviously
amazing from the back.
That,
The Lewis
oh yeah,
Monis.
totally.
The rotors are amazing on the Lewis Monis.
Yeah, the video is good. Obviously spoke about these guys.
Yeah.
Then I was looking at the Oyster Quartz because they're not crazy money and they are undervalued. There's less of them. They're obviously dying off because they don't make parts for them. And it's a two-tone that's coming back that was not going to lose any cash. This ugly bugger,
oh, please.
just because it's
Get
a
out.
Halloween watch.
Yes,
So that one.
I mean, if you want to joke, you spend like maybe £100.
On an Invicta that looks just like it. I've already done
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Probably.
Some Chinese knockoff of a Hublot.
Yeah.
Then there's some Moser because
Oh, wait.
Moser is Moser.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I agree with
Anyone
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
The
If you
blue
want a
dial's
giggle,
amazing.
Jump
Oh,
onto the
sure.
watchbox.com and just look at new arrivals because instead of going to Chrono 24 where you have to pick your brand, your make, your model, your year, this is just like a jumble sale and the stuff you see pops out like that gondola from Patek, that just appeared. So that one there,
Right.
Cartier Santos in black
Nice.
and the
Cool.
Bulgari.
Yeah.
Bulgari Octo
Yeah.
It's like a classic
Yeah.
watch, but an alternative take on it.
Yeah. And also the Freak, or the Freak X from Ulysse Nardin. That's
Oh, Rikki,
Patek details.
If you go back to that Grand Seiko in the bottom right, there is the 40 millimeter ceramic bezel spring
right.
drive GMT, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the one I was referring to.
So those are
Yeah,
some of the
that's the
things I was looking at, Octo Finissimo, in titanium and black. There's just so many cool watches out there to pick from.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so difficult. But those were some of the
Actually-
ideas.
Yeah.
Actually, that just brought a thing into my head. The Octo, because they do the Octo, don't they, in the full carbon with the carbon bracelet as well. That's amazing looking. That'd probably be up
Yeah.
I
your
think it's
street,
pricey
'cause
though.
Oh, it's pretty hefty. I think it's up
Yeah.
up towards 20.
Yeah, no is the answer there.
Yeah.
So there we go.
As
Some of
those
my
are-
ideas. But this little guy here, this kind of jumped out as being insane value for being solid rose gold, Patek,
Yeah. Yeah.
and 10 grand for a
Yeah.
nice little watch.
The Oyster
There you go.
Quartz is pretty cool as well.
What
I-
size? What size is it? Sorry.
Small.
How small is small though?
I don't know. Didn't look that far into it.
28 millimeters.
Hard to know.
Doesn't say, but there you go. 1990. It was from Watchbox. They're obviously clever people. They know what they're doing. Good condition. Yada yada. So
Yep.
still trying to
Nice.
figure stuff out of where we go next.
Get on
Good
For
problems to have.
thoughts on favorite parts. It's like when you're involved in something, it's difficult to say. It's like picking your favorite children. I don't have any, as me and Dave discussed.
People have favourite children, they just never usually say it out loud.
True.
Wasn't that Barbara?
Yes. But children's a sexually transmitted disease I don't suffer from, thankfully. So that's good. I don't know, it's hard to pick. I loved when we were able to do meetings. When we first started the podcast, I went across to Geneva, and it was to go to SIHH, but they moved the times to start at 3 p.m. and finish at 10 p.m, but the flight back was at 7. So going across for 3 hours was a bit shit. But we went across and we spent the full day in Geneva going to all these different stores, went to Rebellion, we went to a second-hand place that does Steve McQueen Explorer 1 in mint condition. Then we went to Richard Mille Boutique. We got took in, try on £500,000 watches, have fun. Mont Blanc's boutique, JLC, everything's within a stone's throw of each other. And they were so welcoming, I think, because everyone was going to SIHH. They didn't expect people to walk into the boutiques at the same time, so the staff were twiddling their thumbs. Loved that. Then obviously Basel, going across with the guys from Chisholm Hunter. That was fun. All the meetups that we had, all the Red Bar meetups, a couple of Scottish Watches, filming days that we tied into that. I missed the Global last year, which now looking back I should have done, but it was just finances weren't there for it at the time. And everything is a stepping stone. I've said this to some of you guys privately. It's like playing a video game. You start off level 1, and when you complete it, suddenly there's new opportunities, new power-ups. And from doing 1 year, people went, oh, they're serious, they've done a year. And then we hit episode 100, it was like, all right, okay, and then 150, and then 200, then 2 years. And then when the Swatch got released, so many doors opened because it proved that what we were doing, people enjoyed and were accepting of. And it elevated our status that we've had so many other companies and people come to us to do things in the future. Obviously, we're very careful about what we're doing, but everything is like a step forward. And that's what I'm appreciating of it. And obviously the support and the help we get from everybody, we've said, but we're not experts, we're enthusiasts, and we're doing this because we love it. We're not doing it because we're getting paid. So it's not like it's all, right, okay, we're going to get bought by somebody, or we're here to get loads of sponsorship and blah, blah, blah. We do this because we enjoy it. If we didn't enjoy it, we'd do something else. And the journey that everyone else has come on, you guys, the different shows that have come out of it, called AAD, Time of the Week, things that have organically happened. We've never orchestrated anything, turned around and said, right, okay, well, we're going to get this person, and this person, and we're going to do something. You guys have all done this by yourselves because you're getting on with each other and you love the hobby. And I think that's what it is. It's letting things organically build by themselves instead of trying to pigeonhole things and put different shapes into different shaped holes. Just seeing what happens and enjoying the trip. And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it really works. So congrats on 2 years, and thanks for letting us be part of it too.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
And we've got, as I said, we've got Rick coming back. The Brexit stuff he's been dealing with is insane. If anyone out with the UK goes to the BBC website and reads what's happening, like with stuff coming in, stuff coming out, fishermen's having our problems getting fish in and out of the country, all kinds of mad, crazy stuff. Loads of companies now stopping dealing with the UK. He predicted this 2 months ago, that he was going to be mobbed, but he's coming back next week to start off. I think it's 2 episodes a month that we're going to start with, and then build up as his workload hopefully gets easier. So yeah, he's still here. He's not left. We haven't killed him. The Deadpool is still running and active.
It's not under the patio.
No, it's not the Brookside Close. So lots of ideas for the future. And what we found that's worked while he's been away is we've been forced to work quicker with other people and bring more people into the fold. Lucy, you've done a show with us. Dave's done a lot of shows. Adrian was on last week. We had Ryan on for a couple. We're going to keep that rotating at least for the next couple of months, because it's also good that people don't know what they're going to expect every time they load up a podcast. They don't know who's going to be the presenter, who's going to be the guest. Keeps it interesting, exciting. And we've not had any complaints about the change because of necessity. People have enjoyed it as much as they miss Rick, and it's just about keeping things interesting and fresh and keeping it going. Me and Dave were talking about the podcast is a bit, we kept saying it was like old Top Gear, but it's a mixture of old Top Gear with Have I Got News For You?
Yeah,
that's what we think
I agree with
it's
you.
Like. Yeah. And what keep that going forward. They've done, what was it, 30 years? Have I Got News For You? It's been going.
I love that show. Yeah. It's like, it's this series 65 or something like that. It's like incredible. More than 30 years.
So that's a plan anyway.
Top Gear was old school Top Gear was the one.
So good.
There we go.
Well, awesome. Lots to look forward to. 2 years is a good start, right?
Wait till you see the special edition Patek we're bringing out. Holy shit.
I could afford the Swatch. I'm not sure I can afford that one.
That's why you're getting the watch, isn't it? So you can take it apart and see like how we're gonna Scottish watches.
Patek, it's okay. Patek spelt with 2 T's.
That's right.
I think I've got a jar of their sauce in my cupboard.
Oh man.
Cool. Well, on that note, I think it's probably time to wrap up. Thanks everyone for joining us. I know this was new time in the new year here, because thought it'd be a bit more convenient for those of you in the UK to do the evening as well. So thanks for everyone that stuck with us, and we'll see you all soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Catch you later.